We gotta get right into it. Today I'm gonna be going over my ultimate guide on how to romanticize your summer, because if you know me, you probably know me from one of my videos about romanticizing my life. I've gone through many different stages. I am constantly changing my aesthetic and the vibe that I'm going for, but I am always, if you can count on one thing, it is that I am romanticizing my life, 1000%. Miley Stewart Summer, I came up with that way to romanticize my life in 2022, I think. I was watching the movie and I was like, oh my god, like this is just the best aesthetic. It's all like florals. She like wears her hair in braids. She's just going back home. She's in the country, and I live in an area that is kind of like a country rural, like small town vibe, and I was just like, oh my god, imagine if you could live like this. So I really came up with that aesthetic and like way to romanticize my life, and I posted a video on TikTok and it like blew up when I posted it, and then everyone started saying like Miley Stewart Summer, and I was like, okay, well, we're getting into it. Another one is Belly Summer. That one was probably like my bigger one where people know that that's from me. I watched The Summer I Turned Pretty and literally was obsessed with it after that, and I loved all the small town coastal energy in the TV show, so I was like, what would Belly do? And I just thought of that all summer, and it was actually one of my best summers ever. So I'm gonna lay it out how I go and romanticize my life, all the little things. I'm gonna try to go through it in bullet points for everybody, so that if you're trying to think about how you're gonna romanticize your life, no matter like where you live, what situation you're living in, you can take these little tips, because I don't think anybody realizes how much better it makes your life to romanticize it until you do it, and anybody can do it. Summer is one of my favorite times to romanticize my life, so I figured I would make this video now because I just want to romanticize my life this summer, and I thought I would remind myself of all the different ways to romanticize your life and how you can do it this summer. We're gonna make sure that summer 2024 is one of the best, so this is how you're gonna go about it this summer. The first thing you're gonna do this summer is figure out what your inspiration is. This could be like your aesthetic, but it also doesn't have to be an aesthetic. Some of my favorite inspiration is from like books, movies or television shows, and Pinterest. Those are the places that I usually go to find my inspiration. Like I said, like Miley Stewart Summer was a movie and The Summer I Turned Pretty was a TV show, so those are the two places that I got like really big inspiration from. I personally just really love movies and TV shows, and I always have, and so that's always the thing that I kind of gravitate towards when I'm thinking about like romanticizing my life. I want to live like I'm the movie character, but that's not for everybody, and that's totally fine. Books can be a really great inspiration for romanticizing your life. Also just like people, whether that be like celebrities or influencers or like people you found on social media that you just really love the way that they live their life. It could be art, like it could be literally anything. It just has to be something that really inspires you and makes you want to go out and live your best life. And then once you find your inspiration, you can kind of break that down into the things that are important to you. Usually for me, when I think of inspiration that I want to have for the summer, I'll create a Pinterest page for it. When I was doing Belly Summer, the thing I wanted most out of that summer was just to have as much fun as I could. Like I wanted to feel young. I wanted to feel like I was just living kind of carefree. I wanted to feel like I was getting outside a lot. I wanted to feel like I was really embracing what summer is at its core. Throwing your hair up in a bun, riding around in the convertible, going for bike rides, kind of like the quintessential like young summer experience, because I feel like I had never really had that before. So once I had that inspiration of The Summer I Turned Pretty and my idea of like why I was using that as my inspiration, I could move forward. Now personally, my favorite thing to do when I'm romanticizing my life in general, but especially like when I'm romanticizing my summer, is think about who I want to be this summer. And it's not like you're actually changing who you are, but I do think there's a bit of a mindset shift that allows you to break away from like previous rules that you set up for your life and start looking at things in a new perspective and appreciate things more and appreciate things in a different way than you have before. Because honestly, what romanticizing your life really is appreciating all the little things more. So I love to think of all of the little things that make up who I want to be this summer. I love to think about what kind of music I would listen to. I like to think about what kind of little activities I want to do this summer. All of the little things that I want to make sure I incorporate this summer. So if the girl that I'm using for my inspiration, like Belly Conklin from The Summer I Turned Pretty or Miley Stewart in the Hannah Montana movie, if she would take a bath every night, then I'm gonna start taking baths every night. If she would wake up in the morning and go for a run and listen to music at 7 a.m., then I'm gonna start waking up every morning, setting my alarm and going for a run and listening to music as the sun comes up. Or if she would be really knowledgeable about like crystals and I want to learn more about that, then I would start like finding books on that and I would start going to crystal shops. It could be anything. It can be like the smallest little thing, like learning new languages. It could be the biggest thing, like starting to take classes this summer. It could be literally anything. It's really fun to think through all of the little things that you want to make sure you incorporate into your summer, not because you're like becoming a different person, but because, like I said, romanticizing your life is about focusing on all of the little things. So maybe there's a bunch of little things that you want to incorporate into your life that you never really thought of before, but you do now. My next tip for romanticizing your life is turning all of the little things into the big things. And this is basically the basis behind romanticizing your life. A good example is like if you drink coffee in the morning, usually you probably wake up, you brew your coffee, you drink it, like that's it. When I'm romanticizing my life, I don't just like wake up and make my coffee. I wake up and I think about what mug I want to drink out of in the morning, which one would make me the happiest, which one would fit the aesthetic that I'm trying to live right now. I love to play music while I'm making my coffee and do a little dance. I love to get excited, especially in the summertime when I have my screen door open in the kitchen, playing my music. It's more about the experience of waking up and making your coffee than it is to just have the coffee. I love to add fun little creamers in or like little flavors because for me, I love having a special little drink. So knowing that I went to the store and I bought like the fun little creamer that has marshmallow flavor and I'm gonna put my vanilla syrup in, I just find that that makes me really happy and I love that experience in the morning. I literally look forward to that when I'm going to bed at night. And obviously it doesn't have to be coffee, but it's just the idea of taking like all the small things like that you maybe kind of just like brush over in your normal life, that you start noticing more and start being more intentional with it. My favorite thought process is like to think about how they would do this in a movie. Like how would this happen in a TV show or a movie? And in a TV show or a movie, it's usually a montage scene and there's like music playing in the background and there's a beautiful like sepia tone over the film and they're pulling out their fun little quirky mug and brewing their coffee and maybe they spill a little bit on their t-shirt and they're sitting down reading a book. Like it's a whole experience. It's a part of the film. Anyways, on to my next tip. The next thing that I love to do for romanticizing my life is making playlists. I think music is one of the biggest, most important parts of romanticizing your life because I mean, have you ever watched a movie and you listen to the music score in the background and you think like, wow, that was so perfect. The music fits the scenes and it just sets the tone for how you feel when you're watching it. It's the same way in real life. Like the music can really set the tone for your day and the way that you feel moving through your day. So I love to make playlists. I make a bunch of different ones on Spotify or I find playlists that other people have already made. For example, there's tons of Belly Summer playlists. When the show was coming out, I added all the playlists that Amazon Prime had made for each of the characters and I would listen to those. I just love having different songs that I could listen to, like when I'm going for bike rides, when I'm riding in the car, when I'm laying out by the pool, when I'm going to hang out with friends, like any of those kinds of things are all good scenarios that you can make playlists for and they set the tone and they make it really fun. And also when you look back and re-listen to those playlists like next summer, they really bring you right back into the moment and I really like having those memories tied to songs. Next tip is watching the sunrise or sunset literally whenever you can. I have never watched the sunrise or sunset and been like, why did I do that? Like that was a waste of time. It's always gonna add something to your life. I love waking up early in the morning and being up when the sun is coming up and listening to all the birds. My backyard is a bit of a field and we get a bunch of birds, especially bluebirds. So when I wake up early in the morning and I walk outside, sit on the back porch and listen to the birds, it feels really special. It just seems like something the main character would do. And I don't know how to explain it, but every single time I watch the sunrise or sunset, it settles something in me. You just gotta do it. Trust me on that one. Eating without your phone and turn eating into like a whole experience. This is a really important one because it sounds silly and I feel like we're all very addicted to our phones and I know I am. But when you put your phone down and you become intentional about it, it makes it so much more fun. Some of my favorite ways to do this are if it's like a really beautiful summer day, going out for a picnic with your friends, packing up a little lunch. Every friend like picks a little thing that they're gonna pack up and you all bring it. Somebody brings a blanket and you guys meet up somewhere and sit outside and listen to music and hang out together and have your little like spread of picnic food. It's so fun. You're gonna have those memories for so much longer than you will if you have lunch watching TikToks on your phone. Like it's just so much more fun to live intentionally sometimes. I'm not saying that there's not a time and place to like, you know, be on your phone. I always am. I get it. But also like it's so much more fun to make memories. Another way that I love to romanticize having a meal is like if it's later at night and you put on some candles or you turn the lighting to be like a little bit more like mood lighting. You listen to some Frank Sinatra. Maybe you're making like pasta. Maybe you're making yourself a little pizza. There's so many different ways to do it. Or another one I love is if I'm having like a meal of like frozen food or like frozen pizza, I love to take on the aesthetic of like Gilmore Girls. Like I'm like, this is so what Lorelai Gilmore would have for dinner, and turn on some like early 2000s music. I'm just heating up a frozen pizza for myself, and I'm gonna go eat it in bed while I watch a little rom-com. There's an aesthetic for everything, and there's a way to romanticize literally everything. Next, we have act like your inspiration would. Now by this, I just mean you take whatever you're doing in your life. Maybe you're studying this summer, maybe you're taking classes, or maybe you're going to work this summer, maybe you're just hanging out. Either way, you can think about how your inspiration would act in that scenario. Like maybe if you're studying for school this summer, you start thinking, okay, like how would Spencer Hastings do this? She would go to the library. She would study at the library. She would have her cute little outfit on. She would have her music in her headphones. She would have all of her study materials set out in front of her, and she would get her work done. And she would stay there until it was all done. Another tip is dressing like your inspiration would. This doesn't mean you have to go buy new stuff at all. I never go buy new clothing. I just use my clothing that I have in different ways. I do feel like putting yourself together and getting dressed up and doing your hair can really add to your confidence, and I do think a really big part of romanticizing your life is trying to put yourself in like the most confident, best version of yourself's shoes. Next is put down your phone and pick up a book, because I never remember what I'm looking at my phone, but I always remember the books that I read that summer. It's a good way to get outside more. I love the fact that you can pick up a book at the library and go sit out and read. In town, you can sit and read at the library, you could sit and read at a coffee shop. It just forces you to get out and get off of your phone more and be more intentional. So just more fun. It's something you can talk about with your friends. You could start a little book club. I love reading. Maybe reading isn't for you, so maybe this tip isn't the best one for people who don't love reading, but I think there is books for everybody, and I don't think there's anything better than sitting outside with like a little drink that you got. Maybe it's a lemonade, maybe it's a kombucha, and reading a really good book. On to the next tip. Learn to enjoy spending time by yourself. I think summer sometimes can be a really lonely time for people because you're not like forced to see everybody at school every day, or maybe you're moving back to your hometown for the summer. There's just so many scenarios, I think, where people are kind of lonely over the summer. It seems like it should be a time when you're hanging out with everybody and doing all these crazy, exciting, fun things. But a lot of people are living normal lives in the summer, and it's not anything crazy or epic. And I think you can really find ways to enjoy spending time by yourself. I think a big part of that is finding different hobbies that you can do by yourself that you enjoy. I know for me, reading is a big one. I think that's one of the reasons that I'm so content being by myself, because I have something that I love to do by myself anyway, so it doesn't really bother me. Now, speaking of hobbies, I have a list in my phone of some of my favorite things to do, like hobby-wise or little activities that I feel like are really helpful for romanticizing your life, and also things that you can usually do by yourself. So riding your bike, baking, listening to music, watching the sunrise or sunset, taking a bath, going to the farmer's market. I love going to the farmer's market on the weekend and dressing up really cute and just feeling like I'm literally the girl in the movie. I'm literally the main character. Going for swims, reading, going to the library, or going to bookshops, which is dangerous for me because I will literally drop a lot of money at the bookshop. Going out to eat at cute little diners or restaurants. Like, it doesn't need to be a fancy restaurant unless that's like your thing and you really love going out to eat at restaurants. Just little places that feel like special to you. Like, I have a favorite place in my town that I love to go out to eat at. I have seating outside. I love to go with my sister and we just kind of hang out there for hours and like chat while we eat some food. Going for walks, going to concerts, having a picnic, doing crafts. Crafts is a really big one, especially in the summer. I feel like there's so much free time, like making little charm bracelets, making some kind of artwork for your room, literally endless options. Lighting candles just to set the mood, and also buying flowers. There's so many more than that, but that's just some of the things that I have written down on my list. My biggest tip is to think about what you want your summer to be like, what you want your summer to feel like, who you want to be this summer, and break that down into all the little things, like the smallest details that you can think of, and then go do it. Pinterest is a great way to kind of visually see what you want your summer to look like and think of all of the little things that you want to do. It's also just a great way to get really excited and inspired. I know especially around now is the perfect time to start making different boards on Pinterest so you get really excited about it and you start thinking through all of those little things. It should be fun, it shouldn't be stressful or anything. It should be something that you're excited to do, and it shouldn't feel like you need to change anything about yourself or your situation to be able to do this. Like I said, romanticizing your life is about being really intentional, seeing what you have in your life already and being grateful for it and being excited about those little things instead of just like kind of moving through your life really quickly. Anyways, hopefully this video was at least somewhat helpful figuring out how you can romanticize your life this summer. If you have any other questions or anything, comment them down below. I will be more than happy to answer. I love talking about romanticizing your life. Anyways, I love you guys so much and I will see you next week. Bye.